Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade is not.
What makes a horror game scary? Let me ask you this first. Is Minecraft scary? It depends on who you ask, but the consensus is generally no. Minecraft was not designed to be a horror game. And sure, you have a fair collection of monsters, ghouls, and creatures, but the game gives you means to protect yourself. You can make weapons, armor, and even build your own shelter. You can even play in peaceful mode, so you basically have control of your experience and dictate whether you want it to be scary or not. The game has its moments, but Minecraft is not a scary game. What about Call of Duty? If you ask someone this question, more often than not, people are going to say no. I don't think I have ever spoken to someone who said that they were scared of the game Call of Duty. But why not? War is terrifying. It's gruesome. People are always dying, and humanity is striving to pioneer technology to create the most painful death imaginable, whether it's mustard gas, flamethrowers, or new methods of torture. And the worst part about all of this is that it's real. This could happen at any moment. We could get nuked. We could get invaded. Many countries are going through this right now in the real world, yet it never crosses the general public's mind. Call of Duty is not scary because there's nothing to lose. Sure, if you get killed, you can just respawn and have another go at it. But there's no tension, there's no risk. It's just a fast-paced, fun-to-play game that people like to enjoy. What about Mario Kart? What about Mario Kart? Let me explain. This game is literally about reckless driving. You are purposely sabotaging your opponents by throwing items at them, whether it's a bomb or a banana, or you just turn into a bullet and fly through them. I digress. It's a video game. It's cartoony. It's literally about racing your friends and having a good time. What's wrong with that? Well, if you think about it, cars are scary. They are 4-ton hunks of metal that can barrel down the road at least 100 miles per hour. And a car only needs to be going 40 miles an hour to kill someone. And cars go twice that speed everywhere. I mean, our infrastructure is designed around them. All it takes is for one swift movement of the steering wheel and it's all over. And the general public isn't really scared of cars. People are more scared of sharks than cars. I sound paranoid, but it's true. Why are we scared of some video games but not others? Let me show you why. Today, I have prepared a list of 3 games, and I will be explaining why each of them are scary in their own and unique ways. Some of them have some similar characteristics and having some familiar gameplay mechanics, but they are all different and unique. You may have heard of these titles, so feel free to drop your thoughts. The 10-year-old cultural phenomenon known as Five Nights at Freddy's is a perfect example of a game that has mastered the art of fear. Some of you may be thinking, Five Nights at Freddy's isn't scary, it's literally a game for kids. Well, you might be right about its appeal to younger audiences today, but back then, it was a different story. When the first installment was released, not much was known about this game. In fact, nothing was. You couldn't move. You were stuck in one spot and the monsters came to you. This was unheard of, at least in other games. You could run away, but here that's not an option. The idea of being stuck in one spot was completely foreign, and the tools you were given were even more complex. Despite giving the resources to survive, they are designed to fail you. The cameras will go out, the doors and lights will jam, and the whole room will run out of power. This concoction of problems just creates a cesspool of stress. Unlike many horror games that rely on gore or overt violence, Five Nights at Freddy's uses psychological horror to build tension. Taking a unique turn in the horror genre, the opinions about it were heavily polarized. Oh, and the lore. Oh man, the lore. The cryptic phone calls, the scattered clues, and the rare Easter eggs slowly revealed the story bit by bit. Scott didn't want to spoon-feed you the details, and that was pretty evident. If you don't believe me, look up Five Nights at Freddy's lore and see the millions upon millions of videos of everybody trying to uncover the secrets of this game. Parts of this game are discovered to this day, years after the game's release. This mystery engages players beyond the immediate gameplay, inviting them to piece together the gruesome story behind the haunted pizzeria. This combination of immersive atmosphere and the grim narrative makes Five Nights at Freddy's a pretty unique horror game, instilling fear long after people have finished playing the game. Anything found just left more questions than answers, and there were so many secrets that really left us in the dark. And if I had to describe this game in one word and why it was so scary, I would say mysterious. Yet another successful title you may have heard of, and probably the oldest on this list. Resident Evil has seen a successful run for about 3 decades now. But as the years went on, Capcom tried to make the game something it wasn't, and eventually it began to lose its identity. This was around the same time that Call of Duty began to become popular, and Capcom wanted a piece of that pie. However, things did not go the way they expected. The games weren't scary anymore. They were trying too hard to be an action movie, and that really lost a huge chunk of its fan base. It lost its survival factor, it lost its grit, it lost its grime, and people didn't like it anymore. Resident Evil 7 was a last-ditch effort to save the series. And it worked. With its sheer horror and gruesome qualities, it brought the series back to light. Resident Evil is not just scary because of the monsters, but it sure does help. Resident Evil brought back the core elements of survival horror that made the original games iconic. It reintroduced limited resources, meaning that once you shot that bullet, you're not getting it back. Inventory management was as prime as ever. You had to organize everything and made sure you had space for everything you needed. And a focus on exploration and puzzle solving with a confined, eerie environment. The game's setting with the derelict Baker family plantation created an atmosphere of isolation and dread reminiscent of the Spencer Mansion from the very first title. This shift back to horror was well received by longtime fans who missed the tension and fear that was in the earlier titles. But that's not the only thing that brought the fans back. This game is in first person, a significant departure from the traditional third-person view. Resident Evil 7 adopted a first-person perspective. This change increased immersion and intensity, making every moment feel more personal and up close. Or, in other words, you can't see what's behind you. This new perspective made every encounter more terrifying, as the players could only see what was directly in front of them, heightening their sense of vulnerability and claustrophobia. I also forgot to mention they made this game in VR, so have fun playing that. If I had to give this game one word to describe why it was scary, I would say immersion. Amnesia: The Dark Descent is a great example of a fantastic horror game. It takes the two terrifying factors from the previous games and puts them together, in addition to one final factor. However, this game does have one problem. We don't know anything. Let's start from what we do know. In this experience, you are helpless. There is no weapon, and there is no savior coming to rescue you. Everything is up to you and you only. You are given 2 items, a lantern and some matches. But these items will eventually run out, and you better hope they don't, because once they do, it's pitch black. You can't see a thing. If I had to choose one word to categorize why this game is scary, I would have to say helpless. All of these games possess the necessary qualities to craft a perfect horror experience, as if it is an unholy trifecta. Keeping your players dumb about their surroundings makes them scared. We as humans naturally fear the unknown. Take advantage of that. Immersion into a dark and scary atmosphere ensures the player feels the weight of their actions. And to make them feel hopeless, the last thing you want to do is to make them feel power, because then they will lose fear. Keep these 3 factors in mind when trying to make the perfect horror experience. I'm recording this really late at night right now, and I have work in the morning, so I gotta get it out quick. But I just wanted to say that I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I'm really excited to show it to you guys, and it took me a bit to make, so drop a like if you enjoyed it. It helps me out a ton, and the best part about it is it's free. If you want to watch more videos like this, just subscribe and stay tuned and hit that bell, and I'll be posting every week. For my creators out there, join my Discord server where you can share your stuff and network. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day.